So in addition to the United Kingdom trying to humiliate Donald Trump by airing a marathon of his lies on Channel 4 this week, Trump also did a pretty good job of humiliating himself and, by extension, the entire United States of America. On Wednesday evening, Donald Trump was invited to an official dinner at Windsor Castle. And, for some reason, perhaps for their entertainment because they no longer have a court jester, they decided to let Donald Trump get up and make an address to the king himself. And Trump did. And he lied his way through the entire address to the polite chuckles of the royal family and other distinguished guests who were present at the Windsor Castle dinner. Here is what Donald Trump told the crowd. It is a privilege to be the first American president welcomed here. And if you think about it, a lot of presidents, and this was the second state visit, and that is the first. Maybe that is going to be the last time. I hope it is, actually. Okay. Just so everybody's aware, I didn't stutter. I didn't mess up that quote. Those are his actual words. The repetitive words, the weird, like, this is the first, and maybe it's the second, but hopefully, possibly the last, but it's also the first and second. Can we revisit the fact that I think Donald Trump is suffering from mini strokes? Because kind of seems like he had one mid-sentence there in between his lies. Because the first statement, by the way, is a lie. I'm the first president to ever be welcomed here. No, you're not. Reagan had a state dinner. H.W. Bush had a state dinner, not a state dinner, but a visit to Windsor Castle. George W. Bush was invited to Windsor Castle. Barack Obama was invited to Windsor Castle. President Biden was invited to Windsor Castle. And yes, all of them did attend. So literally every president this century, this millennium, has been to Windsor Castle. You were not the first. You are technically the only one to do it twice. However, you're also the only one to serve 2 non-consecutive terms. And of course, there was a change in the leadership of the royal family recently, or I mean, I guess 3 years ago, but you get the point. The first one, when you went to Windsor Castle, it was Queen Elizabeth. Now it is King Charles. So it is not, completely unheard of for them to do a new one because there's a new person in charge. But it's documented. There's photographs of those people at Windsor Castle as you're telling this crowd, who was mostly there, by the way, for some of these other people. And you're like, I'm the first and maybe the second and possibly the last. Now, the folks on social media, of course, lit up. One of them said, does he think he's the first American president to visit Windsor Castle? Does he not remember that he visited Windsor Castle during his first term? Will anyone ask him why he can't seem to remember things he's already done? And then another jokingly said, this was the second, but also the first, maybe the last. The man invented quantum state visits. This is humiliating. It's not just humiliating for him because I don't even know that he understands it's humiliating. I don't know that he understands the words that he even said. But it's humiliating for all of us here in the United States. Remember, because I've been covering politics long enough to remember the George W. Bush years. And anytime he would give a foreign leader a weird nickname, how humiliating that was for America. He'd make a fool of himself. He just did it constantly. I yearn for those days again, because that's nothing compared to this braggadocious, narcissistic, mental patient that we have in the White House today. He makes George W. Bush look like a true statesman, like a diplomat. That's how bad Trump is at quite literally everything he tries to do. Thanks for watching, everyone. We're inching closer and closer to 1 million subscribers, and we're aiming to hit that goal before the year closes. So if you aren't subscribed to the channel, please do so, and Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Thanks for joining us as we head towards this huge milestone.